we think of high intelligence, we almost instinctively imagine what a person adds to the world, looking for the visible markers of a brilliant mind. We look for a complex vocabulary, rapid-fire problem-solving skills, or a long list of academic and professional achievements that set them apart from the crowd. However, cognitive psychology suggests that true intelligence is also defined by what is missing, by the things an individual chooses not to do. High intelligence is often marked by a series of deliberate absences, quiet boundaries, and a refusal to engage in common mental habits. Highly intelligent individuals tend to step around the cognitive traps that catch most people because they recognize that mental energy is a finite and precious resource. They understand that every moment spent on triviality is a moment stolen from deep, meaningful thought or personal growth. Because of this realization, they quietly opt out of behaviors that offer no real long-term value, even if those behaviors are socially expected. These aren't just personality quirks or signs of being antisocial. They are strategic psychological maneuvers designed to protect their mental clarity. By avoiding specific social and mental pitfalls, they preserve the peace of mind necessary to tackle the world's most difficult questions. In this video, we will explore the 5 specific things that the most intelligent people stay away from to maintain their edge. You might find that your own quiet habits and avoidances are actually indicators of a high IQ and a sophisticated cognitive structure. Let's look at the first common trap they consciously avoid, which often goes unnoticed by the average person. Number 1. Highly intelligent people avoid the trap of eternal certainty, refusing to pretend they have all the answers. While many people feel an immense social pressure to have a firm opinion on every trending topic, the truly bright embrace intellectual humility. Psychology shows that the Dunning-Kruger effect often leads those with limited knowledge to vastly overestimate their own competence and expertise. In contrast, intelligent individuals are acutely aware of the vast, almost infinite amount of information they do not yet possess or understand. They don't view the phrase, "I don't know," as a sign of intellectual weakness, personal failure, or a lack of natural ability. Instead, they see it as a necessary and honest starting point for any meaningful investigation, discovery, or personal growth. Research suggests that this radical openness to being wrong actually accelerates the learning process and deepens comprehension over time. By avoiding the ego-driven need to be right, they prevent themselves from stagnating in outdated ideas and false beliefs. The real-world consequence of this avoidance is a reputation for genuine wisdom and a significantly lower rate of making critical, avoidable errors. Furthermore, they avoid the dangerous habit of tying their personal identity to their current set of beliefs or opinions. Cognitive psychology calls this trait cognitive flexibility, the mental ability to switch between different concepts or think about multiple concepts simultaneously. Many people feel a visceral psychological threat when their core ideas are challenged by new data, as if their very self is under attack. However, highly intelligent people view their thoughts as working hypotheses rather than absolute, unchangeable truths. Research suggests they engage in a constant rethinking cycle, always looking for reasons why they might be wrong so they can stay aligned with reality. They prioritize being objectively accurate over the temporary satisfaction of being right in the eyes of their peers. By detaching their ego from their opinions, they can change their minds the moment better evidence arrives, without feeling a shred of shame. This avoidance of intellectual rigidity allows them to adapt to complex, changing environments much faster than the average person. The real-world consequence of this flexibility is a high level of psychological resilience in the face of sudden, unpredictable change. Number 2. Highly intelligent people quietly avoid meaningless social conflict and unproductive arguments. They quickly recognize that many social disputes are driven by fragile egos or tribalism, rather than a genuine search for the truth. Psychology shows that engaging in toxic arguments triggers a state of physiological arousal, flooding the body with cortisol and impairing high-level judgment. Instead of reacting impulsively to every slight, they use advanced emotional regulation to stay detached from petty provocations. They understand that winning an argument often results in the much larger cost of losing a valuable connection or wasting hours of time. Cognitive psychology calls this the cost-benefit analysis of social interaction, where the potential gain is weighed against the mental toll. By refusing to participate in social noise, they preserve their precious mental bandwidth for high-level creative and analytical tasks. This avoidance is not about being passive or fearful. It is about being strategically selective with where they invest their emotional energy. The real-world consequence is a life characterized by stable, meaningful relationships and a clear, focused mind that isn't bogged down by drama. In addition to avoiding conflict, they avoid overspending their mental currency on trivial decisions and repetitive gossip. Research suggests that our brain's capacity for high-level reasoning and self-control is easily depleted throughout the day. Cognitive psychology calls this phenomenon decision fatigue, where the quality of our choices declines after a long sequence of decisions. Every minor choice we make, from what to wear to what to eat, uses up a small, non-renewable portion of our cognitive fuel. Highly intelligent people are often fiercely protective of this limited resource, refusing to let it be bled dry by insignificance. They quietly avoid office politics, the latest celebrity news, and circular social drama that provides no intellectual nourishment. By automating small life details through habits and routines, they keep their minds fresh and ready for deep, complex work. This practice allows them to maintain an intense focus when difficult problems actually arise and require their full attention. The consequence is a significantly higher output of meaningful work and a much lower level of daily mental stress. Number 3. Highly intelligent individuals quietly avoid the trap of blind conformity and the comfort of the herd. While the human brain is biologically wired to seek a sense of belonging, they prioritize logic and evidence over social approval. Psychology shows that groupthink occurs when the desire for group harmony overrides a realistic appraisal of alternative courses of action. They resist the powerful urge to agree with the majority simply to avoid social awkwardness, friction, or being an outsider. Cognitive psychology calls this maintaining an internal locus of control, where one's decisions are guided by internal standards rather than external pressure. They constantly question popular trends and common wisdom, refusing to accept them as fundamental truths without rigorous scrutiny. This avoidance of the herd mentality allows them to spot unique opportunities and hidden risks that the majority often misses entirely. By distancing themselves from the noise of the crowd, they remain objective, intellectually independent, and true to their own findings. The real-world consequence is the rare ability to make superior decisions even when under intense, direct social pressure to conform. This consistent resistance to group pressure is rooted in a psychological concept known as the internal locus of control. Psychology shows that highly intelligent people firmly believe they are the primary architects of their own choices and destinies. They do not look to cultural norms, traditions, or popular opinion to validate their personal values or justify their actions. Cognitive psychology suggests that a high IQ often correlates with a measured, higher-than-average need for uniqueness in one's environment. Research suggests this avoidance of conformity isn't about being rebellious for the sake of attention or social signaling. Instead, it is a natural byproduct of evaluating every tradition and social rule through a strict filter of objective logic and utility. If a social rule or expectation does not make logical sense upon inspection, an intelligent mind will quietly and firmly stop following it. This allows them to remain authentic and effective, even when the world demands that they fit into a predefined mold. The real-life consequence of this mindset is a profound sense of agency and a lasting freedom from societal anxiety and pressure. Number 4. Highly intelligent people avoid a fixation on short-term gratification and the allure of instant rewards. They consciously resist the urge for instant dopamine hits that distract them from their larger, more significant life objectives. Psychology shows a robust correlation between high cognitive ability and the inherent capacity for delayed gratification. This is often perfectly illustrated by the evolution of the famous Stanford marshmallow experiment and its follow-up studies. Those with higher analytical skills tend to naturally weigh the future value of a reward against the pull of current impulses. They recognize that most impulsive choices are actually cognitive shortcuts that feel good now, but lead to long-term failure or stagnation. Research suggests this long-term focus significantly reduces the likelihood of substance abuse, financial instability, and poor health choices. By avoiding the relentless pursuit of immediate pleasure, they build a solid foundation for sustainable, long-term success and well-being. The real-world consequence is a life built on compounding gains rather than a series of fleeting, empty highs. The ability to avoid impulsivity and prioritize the long term is deeply rooted in the biological structure of the human brain. Neuroscience shows that the prefrontal cortex acts as the brain's executive command center, managing complex thoughts and actions. This region is responsible for suppressing the primal, immediate urges generated by the more ancient limbic system. Cognitive psychology suggests that intelligent people have a more active and integrated connection between these two brain regions. They are psychologically predisposed to think about their future self as a real person they need to care for and protect. Research suggests that this empathy for one's own future is a hallmark of high-functioning intelligence and emotional maturity. By avoiding the dopamine trap of modern life, they maintain their cognitive health and focus for much longer periods of time. This allows them to invest in skills and projects that take years to yield results, but offer massive rewards in the end. The real-life consequence is a profound sense of security and a high level of mastery in their chosen fields of study. Number 5. Highly intelligent people avoid the trap of overanalyzing things that are entirely outside of their control. While they are deep thinkers by nature, they understand the critical difference between productive reflection and circular rumination. Psychology shows that rumination, the habit of dwelling on negative past events or future worries, actually lowers problem-solving ability. Intelligent individuals are skilled at identifying the boundary where thinking stops being helpful and starts becoming a form of self-torture. Cognitive psychology calls this avoiding analysis paralysis, where the fear of making a wrong choice leads to making no choice at all. They accept the reality that some variables in life are unpredictable and focus their energy exclusively on what they can actually influence. By avoiding the mental drain of worrying about global events or other people's opinions, they stay grounded in the present moment. This practice allows them to move forward with confidence, even in the face of uncertainty and partial information. The real-world consequence is a much higher rate of decisive action and a significant reduction in chronic anxiety and stress. The final step in this process is the transition from abstract, high-level thought into concrete, effective action. Psychology shows that intelligence is not just about the capacity to think, but the ability to apply that thought to solve real problems. Many people with high IQs fail because they stay in the world of theory and never engage with the messy reality of execution. However, those who are both intelligent and effective avoid the trap of perfectionism that keeps many minds stalled in the planning phase. Cognitive psychology suggests that they use a good enough threshold to launch ideas before refining them based on real-world feedback. Research suggests that this iterative approach is far more effective than trying to be perfect on the first attempt. By avoiding the mental trap of circular, unproductive worry, they maintain the momentum needed to reach their most ambitious goals. This focus on actionable thought ensures that their intelligence translates into tangible results that benefit themselves and society. The real-life consequence is a career and personal life defined by high achievement and a sense of true purpose. In summary, high intelligence is not just a collection of impressive skills, it is a philosophy of subtraction. It is the ability to look at the noise of the world and decide with absolute clarity what you will not allow into your mind. By avoiding eternal certainty, meaningless conflict, blind conformity, short-term gratification, and overanalysis, you protect your most valuable asset. You preserve the mental energy required to live a life of intention, deep meaning, and genuine cognitive freedom. Psychology shows that these habits of avoidance are not just beneficial, they are essential for anyone seeking to reach their full potential. Intelligence is often the quiet voice in the room that simply says no to the distractions that capture everyone else's attention. If you recognize these avoidances in your own life, you may already be operating at a level of intelligence that few truly understand. Thank you for watching, and remember that sometimes the smartest thing you can do is simply to step away.